The enemy assault settlements in Luhansk and Donetsk directions. The Russian occupiers tried again to advance towards Severodonetsk. They shelled Ukrainian positions and residential areas. Once again, their attempts failed. The Ukrainian flag flies over the city.
In the Severodonetsk direction, the enemy conducted assault actions using artillery near Severodonetsk. Fighting there continues. In the area of Bobrova, the enemy suffered losses and retreated to previously occupied positions. Attack aviation forces carried out airstrikes near Ustynivka.
Fierce fighting also took place in Liman Donetsk region. There are no surviving buildings in the city. The enemy is purposefully destroying schools, kindergartens and residential areas. This is what it looks like now. However, still part of the city is under the control of Ukraine.
During the fight, a certain part of a settlement may be temporarily under control of one side, and then there is a fight again, then it may change the other way around. It is too early to draw any conclusions that the situation is really tense, that the enemy is strong, and the armed forces of Ukraine are also strong. Therefore, the fighting is fierce. Anna Maler, Deputy Minister of Defense of Ukraine.
The situation in the south of Ukraine is also tense. Ukrainian military managed to go on a counter-offensive. The enemy is suffering losses. In some areas, the Russian occupiers are trying to hold their ground. Residential areas and positions of the Ukrainian armed forces are being shelled with artillery.
The situation on the contact line has its own dynamics. As a result of the counter-offensive actions of our troops, the enemy has suffered significant losses. It has to take up defense at unfavorable and under-equipped lines.
Ukraine continues to receive heavy weapons from international partners, among others the Harpoon anti-ship missiles. Together with available weapons, it will help liberate and make the Black Sea safe.
We receive ground-based launchers and the corresponding number of Harpoon missiles. In addition to Denmark, they are supplied by our friendly countries such as Great Britain and the Netherlands. We believe that in addition to the Russian cruiser Moskva, other warships will sink in the Black Sea, and there will be more sites for diving, where I invite everyone after the victory.
Already in the near future, Ukraine will receive even more weapons, which will enable it to push the enemy to its borders. According to the President of Ukraine, Volodymyr Zelensky, work is going on daily to strengthen our defense.
Every day we are bringing closer the time when our army will surpass the occupiers technologically and by firepower. Of course, a lot depends on the partners, on their readiness to provide Ukraine with everything necessary to defend freedom, and I expect good news on this already next week.
In the last 24 hours, 2 missile strikes were launched on Kryvyi Rih. An industrial enterprise was severely damaged. No casualties have yet been reported. 3 unguided missiles also hit the settlements bordering the Sumy region. A woman was wounded. A church, a kindergarten and residential buildings were partially destroyed. And this is a crater for more than 5 meters deep left by an enemy air bomb. It hit a movie theater in Lysychansk, where civilians were hiding from shelling.
People from Lysychansk used to hide here. All of them have long since been evacuated. Fortunately, the occupiers are purposely shooting at places where people might be. This is how the Russians are trying to kill as many Ukrainians as possible, said Haidai, head of the Luhansk Regional Military Administration.
Avdiivka and Bakhmut are under constant shelling. Most residents have been left without electricity. Food supplies are also running out.
We have some supplies. Humanitarian aid is brought to us.
It's not quiet in the Zaporizhia region either. The Russian occupiers do not allow the local residents to leave the region. For several days, people have been stuck in traffic jams at checkpoints.
Help to leave. We are already on the second day on the road. We are very tired. Children are fussy.
Without electricity, windows and food in occupied Mariupol, the so-called authorities opened schools. Parents were forced to remove the rubble on their own and cover the broken frames with plastic sheeting. The city itself is on the verge of ecological disaster. The streets are littered with garbage, the storm drains are clogged. After it rains, the water spreads the infection all over the city. The occupiers have begun the first loading of rolled steel from the port of Mariupol, since there is no confirmation of the unblocking of the new gate. Metal will be taken out in small batches. We continue to record and monitor.
The occupiers have begun the first loading of rolled steel from the port of Mariupol. Since there is no confirmation of the unblocking of the new gate, metal will be taken out in small batches. We continue to record and monitor. Petro Andrushenko, advisor to Mariupol mayor.
In Vinnytsia, people bade farewell to 9 soldiers of the Special Forces Unit of the National Police of Ukraine Kord. They were killed by enemy missile attack on the Zaporizhia region on May 22. Thousands of citizens lined a living corridor, placed lamps on the roadside and strewn the road itself with red carnations. Reported by Nick Starkov, Alexander Belov, UATV News.